Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here reacting and having a discussion from another video from JC Glitchmaster titled, They Made the Situation Even Worse, Dead by Daylight. So if I can take a wild guess as to what we're about to get into, this is, and of course with Sadako on the screen, perfect way to get into the topic. This was probably talking about that the props or whatever you, I don't know what you, is it a prop? I don't know what you call that, but like the TVs, the turret stations for Xenomorph, stuff like that. That is affected by the chest spawns, and of course JC Glitchmaster can talk more about that. You can watch that on his channel. I am not an expert on that. I do not main Sadako or anybody that actually uses those things. That uses things that like spawn on the map like that. But because with the release of Springtrap, we are seeing that that this could be like once again another issue, because Springtrap's ability does, I think his little door feature has something to do with the like chest spawns or something like that. So either way, we're gonna get into it. I'm pretty sure that's what it's gonna talk about, but I want to see, from somebody who knows a bit more than I do, what they have to say about it.
Behavior have made it so killer items and chests share the same spawns. So for example, Sadako's TVs, aliens, tunnels, Springtrap doors, and plague fountains are all killer item spawns, and they all share the exact same spawns as the chest that you can loot as a survivor. Now this isn't inherently bad, it saves on dev time and such. However, there aren't many of these spawns, and not only are there not many of these spawns, but chests take priority. So when a map is generated, it spawns in the chest first, and then the killer powers.
Big whoop!
Now people who don't play these killers or understand them are probably thinking, well, why does this matter? This is a major issue because some killers rely on their items spawning by generators in order for them to be useful. For example, Sadako needs her TVs by generators, otherwise you lose out on your entire power. TVs are by generators because that's where survivors go, and they need to be in range of TVs for Sadako to push condemn. If a TV spawns on the edge of the map, no survivor is ever going to go near it during the game, so you're never going to be able to push condemn on it. It's also used for map pressure on her, just like with Alien and his tunnels. The TVs are placed by generators so that you can effectively pressure the map. Having all your map pressure abilities being edge map wouldn't be useful for pressuring the map, thus they need to be by generators. Certain maps only have one.
Hopefully that does offer a little bit of an explanation for those of you that are a little bit more curious about it and want to understand sort of the mechanic and how that works. And if you want to watch like the full segment and cover all the details, it will be linked in the description for the original video, and check out JC Glitchmaster's videos as well to get a little bit more of an idea. He even shows an example. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about the other parts of the topic.
Now the problem here of course is that these offerings aren't being used to counter killers, they're usually just being used because of a build or they just want to open some chests. Also, a lot of event items have started adding chest spawns as extra effects, meaning just participating in these events destroys these killers' playability. The worst example is last year's anniversary blood point offering. It's being used by survivors to gain more blood points, but it's also completely breaking killer item spawns since it also spawns in a chest. The idea that bringing in chest offerings can completely delete an ability for you to play certain killers is ridiculous, and most of us thought it was a bug, so we asked Behavior to fix it in the last video with a forum post. Their response to this post was it's not a bug.
Anything at all going on inside here? Just smooth like an egg in there, isn't it?
That's right, Behavior have designed it so that if survivors bring in any...
So, once again, oh man, once again, Behavior is just absolutely just kicking the killers while they're down. That is insane. Not a bug. That's crazy. Like something so fundamental to the killer experience, and it's just considered not a bug. Like just adding all these chests, and it's understandable that it's not a bug, right? On one hand, you go, okay, well, it is the intent that you add things to the chest spawns, and then that obviously affects the killer items because those spawn on those same spots. And it not appearing in that spot, in a sense, is not a bug, because that's what they intended it for it to do. The problem is that it only just adds on to all the other stuff that we already talk about with behavior, and how they are very they're very inclined to really just stick to a certain side for a while and kind of stay favoring that side for a while with a lot of updates and stuff like that, and it happens a lot. And you know, if killer already wasn't a pain to play, this just makes it even worse. And it's kind of a shame, but it is true, because people that enjoy playing Plague or Xenomorph or even Sadako and stuff like that are just now getting a kick in the teeth, because they, you know, have an event that involves adding chest spawns, and it's like, why? And for some reason, there's no workaround for this. There's nothing you can do about that. It's just, okay, you don't have your power. It's like, what the heck? Which is kind of ridiculous, because in the past they have removed things that remove your power, like Lightburn from Nurse and Wraith, and the option to sabotage traps to destroy them for the rest of the game on Trapper, and to use a flashlight to burn the hag traps from a distance. Like, they remove these things so that you don't remove the killer's power, but then you also have a full mechanic that removes the killer's power. So it's just kind of a damn shame. I don't know why that's still in the game, but, you know, all I can say is the more that they keep, you know, adding these things that affect the killer players negatively, you're just going to keep continuing to lose more and more killer players. And eventually they're just going to have killer bots, and you just have killer bots, and then eventually you'll just not have any killer players. So, which is probably what the survivors want, honestly. I think considering how much they've been complaining as of late for everything that's in the game, it seems that they would just prefer to not even go against killer. They just like to touch the gens all day and then walk out of a gate. Which at that point, somebody should just release a generator simulator game, and they'll probably just buy that and play that instead, because that's insane. But anyway.
On the issue. To counter this issue, a lot of us who play these killers had two options. We could run the cut coin. This would remove 2 chests from the map and completely fix the problem, assuming that no survivors brought in 2 or more chests. Alternatively, we could close the game while it was loading if multiple of these offerings were in play, to avoid playing that match, because honestly, it wasn't worth the effort. Nobody should be forced to play at a match where they're inherently going to lose because of bad game design.
That right there is how I would describe playing the M1 killers in this day and age, with the current meta, with just all the stuff that we have going on. I think that accurately will describe exactly what the killer experience is like, I think. Just wholeheartedly. Like, you can walk into a game, get a map offering to Eerie of Crows of some kind, Macmillan, and you're like, well, looks like I lose this game. Ain't nothing I can do. And it's a pain. And it sucks. But that's the experience when you play against, like, map offerings. That's the experience when you play against just playing most killers that aren't the S or the A tiers. You know what I mean? It's just like, you just walk into a game, well, guess I lost. Like, GG's. You know, I tried my best. Ain't nothing you can do.
This brings us on to the recent FNAF PTB. They took the coin offerings and they've made them secret.
Son of a bitch! You done messed up, Aaron!
Guys, it's literally every other patch. They somehow managed to make this situation worse. I don't know if I can keep doing this.
You gotta be kidding me, dude. Why are they making coin? Oh my god. Why are they making coin offering secret? I have no idea. Oh man. Like, at least one thing that I can share with Xenomorph mains and Sadako mains and stuff like that is that, you know, our killers are either constantly getting kicked in the stomach, you know what I'm saying? We're constantly getting slapped around. And, you know, as a Ghostface main, even worse so. Like, anything that affects any killer is automatically going to trickle down to the Ghostface killers, like killer mains, and anybody who plays M1s. And golly. Now, this is a very specific situation where it affects the power directly, but not having a power is literally the name of Ghostface. So, like, it just makes sense. And it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame that this is just a normal experience we always have. My God. But with that being said, if you want to watch the rest of the video, it'll be linked in the description. Go check out JC Glitchmaster. Go ahead and check out his video. He goes into more depth about this topic. He can talk a lot more about it. Coming from my perspective, it's definitely to be expected and definitely a very difficult situation to be in. And it's a damn shame that you know, we're getting a new killer that brings in those killer items, and now Springtrap is going to have to experience that as well, which is going to be rough. So yeah, with that being said, man, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.